Well, hello everyone. Here to show you right here of talking about right here is a document right here, and like you mentioned before right here of talking about you have these options right here, but you see right here where it talks about the seems like I was different from this. So this is right here is like a kind of like a letter talk about for A+ students, right? And so that's why it sure seems that way that if you're going to be writing a letter, just talking about, anything that anything that you were wanting to talk about whenever it comes to getting along with all the other students and what you would like to learn, stuff like that. But really, at the same time, it sure seems that way that whenever we do speak about a letter like this right here, and want to know too that is it going to kind of remind you just a little bit about anything about which cause, like, okay, yeah, well, how well did you really know the other kids, and maybe about the things that you were wanting to learn, and maybe getting to know a little bit more, of the other kids and what grades that you were making during the time, special treatment especially. So this right here was something I did want to mention it right here. I talk about for special gift of kindness and have the special knowledge for who is better than who, and so it sure seems that way that each time we think about that, it seems like that, yeah, well, really, that whenever you do think about this and anything that you're going to be working on, that whenever it comes to Word documents, right, and you see these menu options right here, so it's like, yeah, it all started by to where you go ahead and just write a note on a typical line paper, and then whenever you do scan it or take a picture of it and upload to your phone, and you're likely want to know too that, okay, yeah, you have these options right here to where you can actually you have these options right here on the top right here to where you can actually the review right here, translations and all that. But at the time we were like want to know too that Acrobat settings and all right here. But at the time, it sure seems that way that when we do speak about letters, the Word documents right here, and want to know too that, a lot of that special treatment, a lot of times, a lot of that special treatment that you can remember getting whenever you were younger, and a lot of times people might say that, yeah, well, really, that they would give you a lot of that special treatment mainly because that if you were able to show them how something works. So let's just say that if the thing that you want to show somebody was about that okay, yeah, this is how you would highlight this sentence right here. So you have right here talking about for special right here, and you have gift of kindness right here. So if you were to actually show somebody how this worked on Word, right, in the 102, that, yeah, and what does it usually mean whenever you do underline a sentence? So let's just say that if I were to switch to the pen right here, and let's just say that, that underline a sentence, and well, what does it usually mean whenever you do underline a word like that? And at the time you want, I'm like, yeah, if we can all see that right there, but still. But whenever it comes to a complete sentence, right? And we're always want to know too that, yeah, while you were working on a letter or anything else that you were working on, that you were always want to know too that yeah, what does that usually mean if you do wind up options right here? So if I were to underline this, what does that mean whenever somebody does it? And a lot of times it's like, well, really, that but that I'm like, yeah, I think that's watercolor right there. But anyway, so it sure seems that way that while you're writing and maybe while you're making corrections and maybe while you're editing a Word document, it sure seems that way that you go ahead and read a letter like this, and let's just say that it's about what's called maybe from a letter from the doctor or something like that, and you're always going to maybe warn to where that that, yeah, whenever you first learned how to write a letter using WordPress or any other source of program that you may have first been introduced to, maybe about a lot of typing tools like you have right here's the home page right here. You may have been introduced to maybe a few of these settings right up here on the top, right? Before you started getting used to how highlighter worked, or maybe about how to request for a signature and maybe all this other stuff that you didn't quite understand during the time. And so that's why it sure seems that way, that whenever somebody looks at something that you're working on, especially, that it's like, yeah, you're going to go ahead and say that, well, be like the cool kids, but, still, but talk about right here that when we do speak about writing letters, so that you're warned toward it, yeah, well, really, that the main reason why you were working on this, if anything, of course, was so that way somebody can see that, yeah, what source of attention do you think that you would get if you want to go ahead and like, yeah, like anybody say that, yeah, if you want somebody to treat you kind and special or something like that, for sure, but still, but half the time, it sure seems that way toward it, yeah, well, really, that when we do speak about special, though, that you're always thinking is toward it, yeah, well, knowing some of the students, I'm like, yeah, that may also say that there is always the option of quitting too. So you have right here is this letter right here, and it's like being like the cool kids. So I'll go ahead and right here have right here to talk about for the cool kids right here, and so it sure seems that way that when we do speak about letters a lot of times, and think as toward it. That whenever it comes to letter, especially, like a lot of senior citizens might say that, especially about their retirement, and like anybody might even say is toward it, the purpose for this letter, mainly because, like anybody say, is to where if we're going to be using a WordPress just to be able to type up a document, let's just say if it's anything important, such as maybe a tax document or something like that, or it could also maybe be about your retirement, fund or something like that, or a college fund or a stipend amount. And I'll just say, what exactly is a stipend amount? That's an amount that's paid to you based on your condition, and if it's disability or if it's retirement or any other source of benefits that's paid to you, by by government law that you would have those amounts paid to you, right? And so that's why it sure seems that way, that each time we do speak about maybe loans and all, but still, why would, really, in case of anybody that may say is that, really, why would you want to take out a loan for any reason at all? And let's just say that if I were to add right here that knowing about whenever it comes to taking out loans, right, and people must say that, well, especially if we are talking about loans that are, something like that, for how much in loans, and also that, your salary, whenever it comes to retirement, right, and your salary whenever it comes to retirement, and let's just say that, 5,700, something like that, 09, 89, something like that in salary. So a lot of times it sure seems that way that, people might say is toward it, be like the cool kids are, but still, if you're going to be starting out a letter stating toward, okay, yeah, that, you were just, you were working on something so that way you can get somebody's attention or something like that, or for any reason at all, you were just experimenting around with something, but it's like, yeah, whenever you first start writing a letter, that you might be just checking out something or just checking out the stickers or whichever, but at the time, you always want to know, too, that when we do speak about letters a lot of times, that knowing some students that may also say that there is always the option of quitting, too. So this right here, I was bitching right here, of that is toward it, you may never know what you find out, I'm like, if you just, keep work on you, and you would know for sure that, but still, that, but still, that, but this right here, this, and all in this letter right here, so if I was working on this, and it looks like, just a little bit choppy right there, just because of, the fact that, not really a complete sentence, but if I was actually working on this, if this right here was supposed to be like just a letter, so that would tell people that, for any reason at all, why do you think that you would get the special treatment from all the other cool kids, or maybe if it's somebody that you really would want to talk to you, or just to get them to like you for any reason at all. Like everybody else would say that, talk about for special treatment and all that. But it's like, yeah, that, whenever we do speak about letters most of the time, it sure seems that way. That, yeah, well, I was working on this letter, and then I thought I'd just try it out and just say that go ahead and go to the mailbox and see if there was a way of how to send this letter electronically, just to check it out. And so people might say that, yeah, well, that's really just doing your own thing, ain't it? Doing your thing pretty much means that you don't really know what you're doing, but you're just seeing what happens, right? But it's like an experiment. But I just really think that for anybody who's really that desperate to know and want to know that yeah, well, of course, like anybody say that if you're going to be on your own personal computer, on a business computer, or on a smartphone, to have that ability to where you can send something electronically. But it's like whenever you do look at a letter like this in 102, that what does that usually mean whenever somebody does give you the special treatment? And usually that means is that yeah, well, that they're looking at what you're working on, and they're looking at what you're doing, and they're even offering you a gift, and maybe that they're offering to buy you something or to do something for you. And that is why it sure seems that way, that whenever you first started working on this right here, that you were actually working on to publish a book, or maybe to work on an article or something like that. But it's like yeah, that do you think that people might say, yeah, you have these options right here where you can view, right? But it's like each time we speak about Word documents, though, that you're warned toward it, that before you may not even use all these settings right here. But it sure seems that way, that whenever I was looking at it, that you have more these other options right here to where you can actually the create and share right here. So if this right here was supposed to be a letter that you were writing at your own time, just because that maybe if you were just if you were maybe mad about something, or maybe if you were just trying to solve a problem or something like that, and like everybody else might say is that really you don't really want all that stuff to be visible. But like anybody else would say is that maybe the reason maybe why you would share this with somebody else, maybe so that way that that same mistake will not be repeated. And like everybody else may say, that if you believe it was a mistake, then maybe you can maybe tell somebody that to teach you a lesson, and not to do it again, or something. And so that's why it seems like that broken piece right here. So this right here is a letter talk about for special treatment and attention, right? But at the time, you're always warned too that when we do speak about meetings a lot of times, and you're always warned toward it that whenever you first started typing this, that you were actually you were really just one to only write about maybe 3 or 4 sentences about something that you were working on, or something that you were trying to accomplish and trying to improve. But like everybody else might say that before you actually convert it to a Word press document, that you actually type this up using Notepad or something. And so that's why it seems like that when we do speak about writing down notes a lot of times, and you're always warned toward it, programs like Word and everything, that anything personal though. But like everybody else might say that really, so that way somebody else can better understand what you were working with. Just talk to them, just show them what you're talking about. By all means, that just show them what you. But still, like anybody say, that what does it usually mean? Just to be able to get to the special attention, and 102 that really that it seems like to me though it's all about is toward it. You want to show somebody how something works mainly. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.